Someone asked me to do a video on energy vampires, so here I am doing the video on energy vampires. Sorry if my voice sounds weird a little bit. I'm having a flu at the moment, but I can talk, just that my voice probably sounds a bit weird. So anyway, what are energy vampires? To put it simply, energy vampires are people who suck your energy, and they either do it consciously or unconsciously. People who do it unconsciously can be family members, they can be friends, or even strangers or people you're not very familiar with that behave in certain ways that actually drain your energy. For example, people with narcissistic personality disorder are known to be energy vampires. This is because they try to control you, to coerce you in some way, to manipulate you, to get you to do things for them. Generally, this type of people who are very self-centered, they make everything about them, about their needs. They want you to do things for them. They always talk about themselves. They never listen to you. And especially people who talk a lot, I have noticed, and many of my friends have noticed, that these are people who drain them mostly. So if you have, for example, a friend who always like talks and talks and talks and talks about themselves all the time, they never listen, and they can talk for hours, these people can be energy vampires, and they don't do it in a conscious way, they do it unconsciously. It is their way of getting their life force and their energy. And it is because of this tornado of energy that they create, where they talk and talk and talk and talk about themselves all the time. They suck you into this tornado. And the same thing with narcissists, for example, who drain you because they guilt trip you, or they gaslight you, or they try to manipulate you in some way. In the same way, these people, they create this kind of vortex of energy, and they suck you inside of their vortex. And the more you engage with them, the more drained you're going to be, and the more drained you're going to feel. So, like I said, there can be people who do it unconsciously, and there's a lot of them. It's quite hard to avoid them if they are family members, especially, or if they are friends or people who are close to us. What I would say is to put strong boundaries with these people. For example, I used to know a lady who would call me every day and keep me on the phone for like 1 hour. That's when I was about like 19 or something. It happened quite a while, long time ago. But I still remember that every time she called me, not only that I was feeling drained over the phone because she kept on talking and talking and talking, and there was absolutely no room for me to say anything or to even say, I can't talk right now, I have my own things to do, I have my own needs. There was no room for me to say that. It was all about her and her needs, basically. And I remember like when the phone would call, I had this like terror every time I would hear the phone, the landline call. I had this terror that she was calling me. And she was absolutely an energy vampire. So there's different ways in which people can vampirize on others. Like I said, one common way is people who make it all about themselves, who always talk by themselves, and you have to listen, but there's no room for you to say anything. People who try to get you to do things for them all the time, and they can do it by either trying to guilt trip you, to gaslight you, to manipulate you in some way. So these are the people who do it unconsciously. Now, what about the ones who do it in a conscious way? Now, these people, they are actually willing to take other people's energy and do whatever it takes for that. So these people know very well how energy operates. And I've seen quite a lot of posts where people were saying, I have done this ritual through magic to take, X, Y, and Z's energy and use it for my own benefit. This absolutely happens. And it's something real. People who do magic use magic and the occult, and they use rituals to take other people's energy. This is something quite serious. While with the ones that, with the people who are doing it in an unconscious way, you can actually get rid of them much more easier, because basically you can put strong boundaries with these people, and like put a strong boundary between you and them, your needs and them. With the people who are doing it in a conscious way, that's a little bit more tricky. It's a little bit more difficult, because these people know of how to operate with energy. They do it willingly. So they use spells, ritual, magic, but not just that. You know very well that on this channel I have talked before about incarnated dark beings. Many of these incarnated dark beings are actually energy vampires, because they're literally empty vessels. They're vessels with a human form that are being used by a dark being to project itself into this vessel. So basically, they have no spiritual divine energy of their own. They have no high vibration or higher self like most humans have. Because of that, they feed off of other people's energy instead of feeding off the prana from around them, from the sun, from the air, from the water, or from their own spirit. So a lot of these incarnated dark beings actually use their psychic powers and their love and knowledge of the occult, which many of them have, to suck other people's energies, because they are empty vessels, basically. So these are the people who do it in a conscious way. And like I said, this is a bit more tricky, because depends on what exactly they use to suck your energy. They could use a specific kind of entity that they work with. They could use magic. They could use, even psychic powers, like I said, like their innate psychic ability. I find that these people, the incarnated dark beings, they have a lot of psychic powers that they use, not for good reasons. So my advice in any case, whether you're dealing with an energetic vampire that is doing it in a conscious way or in an unconscious way, perhaps it is a family member, perhaps it is a friend who is kind of draining you, put strong boundaries with these people. So know when to say no, know when to stop a conversation, know when to put your needs first. Know how to distance yourself even from these people without feeling guilty, because you are the one getting vampirized. Okay, you're being vampirized by these people. So apart from that, apart from you standing your ground and setting strong boundaries, you of course have to use also spiritual protection. This is very important. And spiritual protection can be done in a number of different ways. You can do it through strengthening your connection between you and your higher self. You can do it through ritual work, through meditation, through energy healing, through so many different ways, even mindfulness, being in the present, being connected to the present, to your higher self in the present, being in that state of mindfulness and gratitude for life. That strengthens your spiritual energy and your connection to yourself, to your higher self, your spirit at the end of the day. Because your spirit is the gateway to the universe, to universal protection and energy. So, this would be one way. Then you can also use, another way would be to use a bubble of energy, like literally create a sphere of energy around you. Like create a sphere of protection around you by visualizing yourself inside of this sphere that is either of white light or of golden light, whichever works best for you, whether white light or golden light. So imagine yourself inside of this sphere and put this sphere around you every time you are around such person whom you know is an energy, a potential energy vampire, okay? Or when you're talking to them, imagine, visualize this sphere. And this sphere is also a way, an energetic and mental way of you placing a strong boundary between you and these people. So there could be a lot more to say on energy vampires. If you have further questions, send them to my email or in a message. So this is my video basically on energy vampires. Hopefully it was useful and informative